Hello, welcome to the Citrus Garden. If you're new here, my name is Christina. If you're not new here, hi, welcome back. It's great to see you. This is a reading for Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or if you have any other significant Gemini placements, there may be a message in here for you. So Gemini, just to get started, there was a Gemini reading, the last two Gemini readings feel particularly relevant to you, but one that I did a month ago, I'll link it above for you just in case you're interested. There may be a message in there for you, or there may be something about that energy that's sort of like happening right now, is like you're in the middle of it, is kind of how it's coming through. I'm going to try and keep the energy separate for that video and this one, but I'll just like summarize a little bit what that reading was about. Just in summary, it was about like somebody that is close to you, like a friend. It could be like a family member, where they were like keeping something secret from you in order to protect themselves or to protect someone that they love or something like that. And having that sort of being, it's so complicated. There's a lot of like complicated energy in your reading today. Like it's kind of like, because if this is someone you love, I'm assuming it's someone you love, or you like they're your friend or something like that. And it's like they're trying to be honest with you, they're trying to be open with you, but there may be sort of like complex energy about like anger or things like that may come up because of this. So just being aware of that, Gemini. I feel kind of like there's something about like being compassionate about someone who may be going through a bit of a tough energy right now. I feel like there's someone who's trying to be honest with you, but at the same time, there may be sort of like pain and hurt that sort of comes up because of that honesty is just how it's feeling. Okay. This feels like this happens generally in a lot in like Gemini readings because of that energy of duality, Gemini, where I feel like I'm talking to like multiple people. I feel like I'm talking to multiple people and each person has a specific message. So it's kind of like a blanket statement's not going to cut it. It's like there are specific messages for people who are on different sides of the conversation. That's how it's coming through. So just use your discernment here, Gemini. Make sure that it's not like, make sure that the message really resonates with you before you take it on. There's only so much I can do in a general reading. There's another thing coming in. So there's something called the cocktail party effect, where it's like, imagine you're in like a very busy room, like a cocktail party where everybody's sort of having all of their like conversations, that kind of thing. So it's like you can't, when you first step into this room, you can't really hear or distinguish any particular conversation. It all just feels sort of like in Charlie Brown, how they have like the staticky kind of voice. Like you can't really distinguish any noises. But the cocktail party effect is like, imagine someone says your name from like across the room or something like that. Like someone says your name, whether or not they're talking about you or whatever, but like the hearing something familiar like that, like your name can sort of pull you into focus into that conversation. So like all the white noise sort of fades and you can focus in on a particular conversation. That's how your energy feels today, Gemini. It's almost like you're in a cocktail party and it's like, I'm trying like to focus really hard on your energy. Or that there's something like maybe you're trying to like maybe there's something about like, cause it kind of feels like that feels more of like a energetic phenomenon that I'm describing for you, where it's like, there's a bit of a Neptune energy coming in where it's almost like there's like a collective energy, where it's like you can't really hear specifics, or it's like everything, all the conversations, all of the energy sort of like mixed in together, and it's like trying to focus on one specific conversation or something like that. And maybe there are like particular cues that can help you to do that. It's so funny. It's like something like not yesterday, like 2 days ago, I was like talking to my mom about one of my friends, and I said her name while in the conversation. She's right now like abroad. She's not in town, but like the next day after I had this conversation with my mom, this friend texted me, like she reached out. It could be something like that. Maybe there's some sort of like spiritual connection that you're trying to like connect with, but you're at a distance, or there's like other noise, there's other sort of conversations happening, and it's like you're trying to focus on one of them. That's how it feels. The word salient is coming through. Like it's like something that really grabs your attention. It's like the most obvious thing in the room, that kind of thing. It's like a very salient experience. But now it's coming in with like salt. Like salt brings flavor. There's interesting. Okay. Is there any more that wants to come through before I pull cards? Maybe the color red? Okay, interesting. Your first card is the mouse and buttercup, innocence. This is the Fool card in this deck, of course, innocence. There was an Aries reading I did last week that talked about wise innocence, where which was described in that reading as being a state where it's like wisdom with that salt energy, right? Like knowing something to be like being able to see truth, being able to see light and dark, being able to acknowledge that there are bad things that happen, but they're also good. And the innocence comes through as being like choosing to focus on the good, even though you know that there are bad things that can happen. So that's sort of the energy that's coming through for you right now, Gemini, but it's actually kind of feeling like, it's interesting that I'm using this animal deck because there is a mouse card in the other animal deck, the Wild Unknown, and that comes through with this feeling of like all of these sort of like stars. There's also a Libra reading. I'll also link that above. Again, because it's like, I feel like you're about to step into like a cocktail party in some way, Gemini. It's like you're on the outside of something. I feel like you haven't quite stepped into it. It's almost like you're preparing yourself to be surrounded by a lot of noise. Like imagine if you are like going to like a party, right, where you don't know anyone, but you have a friend who's already there. So it's like you have to go into this big crowded party and then find your friend, right? But it's like maybe you're preparing yourself. Because the mouse is also very wise, right? They know where to like, they know, it's I'm seeing you like sort of like mice or like hamsters. I used to have a hamster, which I was thinking about this morning, which is really interesting. I had a hamster when I was like 10 or something like that. Or younger. Maybe it was like 7. Anyways, they like, when they feel threatened or if they're just being cautious, they sort of like go around the outsides, like they travel around like the edges or like close to walls. Like open spaces are not really safe places for a mouse or for a hamster, that kind of thing. Because it kind of feels like a bit of like a wallflower energy for you, Gemini, this is not normally a Gemini, because for me, how I relate to Gemini energy is like Geminis are natural storytellers. They're very fun, but they're not like Leo, who would be at the center of like the party, right? They wouldn't be at the center of the party. I feel like you're almost like on the outsides of the party, Gemini. You're like traveling along the walls, looking for your friend, maybe. But maybe there's a lot of noise around you at the moment. That's how it's kind of feeling. Maybe you're feeling a bit like a wallflower. Perhaps you're gathering information. It's like you just hear like snippets of people's conversations, but not really like hearing the one that you want to engage with yet, is how it's coming through. Huh. I'm hearing the word character study. Maybe you're people watching. I don't know. There's something like that, but there's something significant about that. It's almost like you're like surfing channels or something, but it feels very like spiritual. It's like you're surfing channels. You're flicking through channels, or you're hearing snippets of conversation. None of them are particularly salient, right? Like it's like they're not grabbing your attention, but maybe there is something like that that's coming up for you where it's like it's going to grab your attention. It's like hearing your name from across the room. I'm getting kind of like your sense of smell might be kind of a significant like indicator for you, like because it doesn't feel like sight is really helping you at the moment. It feels like either like your ears, like you're having to rely on like different senses is how it's coming through, like your scent and your sense of hearing is There's also something about balance and space, which is really interesting, like how you navigate a certain space that's coming through. There could be something about like balance and proprioception, like how you, like, you know, if you drink too much and you get dizzy, it's because, or like you feel like the room is spinning, is because like the fluid in your ear that makes you feel centered gets affected by alcohol, and so you feel dizzy, right? That's sort of how it's coming through. Maybe there's something like that where it's like one of your senses is sort of being affected by like noise or distraction, so it's kind of like maybe you feel a bit off balance, or you're like protecting yourself by sort of staying along the edges. Maybe there's something in your environment right now, or you're going through something, or there's some sort of experience that's making you feel kind of off center than you normally would, maybe, because Gemini is like a very like social sign, in my opinion. But maybe you're feeling a bit less social at the moment, and that's fine. Everyone goes through those phases, but it's kind of coming through like that. Like maybe one of your senses or something about like your normal, natural way of operating is feeling a bit off-center, is just the way that it's coming through. So you're sort of sticking to the edges, is just how it's feeling. I feel, but, because again, it's kind of like that feeling of like you're entering a space where you don't know anyone, but it feels like very big, and it's like you have to find your friend, or like an anchor is actually just how it's coming. Like, I don't know, it might not be a friend, right? It could just be like something familiar in an unfamiliar environment, trying to find an anchor, something that will help you remain stable in perhaps something that's changing. There could be something like that, but maybe you haven't quite the Maiden. Maybe you haven't quite found that anchor yet, right? Like something that's like really salient is the word that's coming through. Like it really pops out at you. This maiden energy. This is really beautiful. Gemini, you have, look at, because it's like the maiden is also this energy of innocence coming through. It's a new beginning with the maiden as well. I feel like that's the thing that you're looking for. It's like there's, and you have the piper at the bottom of the deck. Yeah, it's like, it feels very much like you're hearing something that's calling your name, Gemini, in a room full of white noise. That's how it feels. Something that's like really powerful that's calling your name. The maiden. Auspicious beginning, birth, growth, joy, and hope. I'm going to read the full description of this card, actually. Okay. From her crown of light to her star-jeweled toes, the maiden is pure joy. She is the face of the force that generates growth throughout all the worlds. When she smiles, troubles melt. Where she dances, flowers spring from the ground and burst into bloom. It is from the maiden that the pixies learn the dance that keeps the other world turning, and probably our world too, for that matter. She is newly born every morn, and she carols her plangent song of growth for all beings in all the worlds. She sees the magic and the light in everything, and takes delight in it. Yet even though the maiden is so powerful and wonderful, she is a child, and she needs to be cared for, nurtured, and cherished. When she takes the form of a flower, someone must see that she gets enough water and sun. When we look after something new or old, we are caring for the maiden, whether she is in the form of a blossom, a sapling, a baby, or a new idea. She, in turn, is likely to switch between joyfully and gratefully receiving such nurturing and insisting on an independence that she really isn't ready for yet. She knows deep within herself what she needs to do and become, and she moves towards this with a directness of a child. The maiden also has the simplicity and curiosity of a child, seeing with unclouded eyes. She has an openness to life, love, new things, and new experiences. Every moment with her is an adventure filled with playfulness and hope. Innocent, she is awakening to and learning about the world. Much of her learning comes with laughter and silly jokes, and she trusts what life gives her. Every time we allow ourselves to be filled with joy, we become more like the maiden. Yeah. Is that you as well, Gemini? Interesting. Because the way that I'm seeing the cards is that you're this mouse energy, and you're looking for the maiden, is how it's coming through. But it's like this is a match to you, of course, right? These are matching energies. So it's like maybe you're looking for a match of some sort. I don't know in what way. It's like you're searching for that anchor, is how it's coming through. Because as I was reading this description, I was getting this image of like Cinderella, and the mice who are like her friends that help her. Maybe there's something like that for you. Maybe there's an energy around you who is in this sort of maiden energy. There's an innocence about this. I don't want to say it's necessarily a bad thing, but it does need to be nurtured, and like this energy is learning about life in some way, or learning about learning. They're learning something. And it's like maybe you are there to help them, or feel free to flip this again, Gemini. It's one of those readings where it could be, if there's two energies, you are both. In some way, you're both of these energies. So you are both the maiden and the mouse. Maybe there's something around the Maiden. Maybe there's something around the Maiden that is not quite good for it in some way. It's like maybe the Maiden is learning to protect itself. Like, it could be a friend. It could be like some sort of like new project. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be like something that you're focused on. It's just like a new beginning in some way. But the Maiden represents something that's new and childlike and pure and happy and innocent, but it also requires protection and nurturing and caregiving and like attention, right? So it's like there's something about this energy where it's like, I feel like part of what you're doing, Gemini, or like when you connect with this energy, it's like you feel this sort of need to protect or to nurture whatever this is. But there's also a lot of playfulness too, right? There's playfulness, there's joy, there's happiness. It's coming through very Page of Cups, like just following your heart, being very playful. The Buttercup is also really coming through. Like, it's like really reminding me of childhood. Maybe this is like a childhood friend or something like that. Or just something from your childhood. It could be something like a pet, like, because I was thinking about my hamster that I had when I was I think it was 7 or something like that. Well, the number 14 is also coming through very strongly for you. So it could be older. It could be when you're like 14. Maybe that's like a significant age for you. It's like just that time frame of childhood. Okay. You have 4 cards. This sulfur card has been coming up so much. It came out in yesterday's reading too. Was it? No, it wasn't. It wasn't yesterday's. It was Libra. And then you have Saturn, resin, and smoke. Maybe you're dealing with a Libra, or maybe the Libra reading from 2 days ago will have a message in there for you, because the Saturn is coming out, and there was a significant Libra reading that had the Maiden card. Okay, Saturn, resin, and smoke, though. I'm going to focus on those. Okay. So Saturn talks about, like, discipline, right? Like, putting the work in. It brings this sort of, like, weightiness to the reading otherwise. It's almost like there are challenges for you to get through in order to make it to this Maiden energy. Again, it's like you're separated from the Maiden by a crowded room, is how it's coming through. But I'm seeing this resin card as being almost like a gong. It comes through with a gong. But it comes through with like transparency. But it's really talking about like vibrations and like listening, like the sound of something. Like a person saying your name in the middle of a crowded room. Like that kind of thing. And it's like it draws you right towards it. But this card does talk about like preservation and protection. I'm going to read the smoke card though, because this one's I just heard like a smoke signal. Okay. Smoldering, wandering illusion. Smoke is a tantalizing phenomenon. Stealth-like and seductive, it swirls and twists, rising and disappearing. It travels great lengths with its signature scent, warning of a flame somewhere in life's laboratory. Such is the nature of the smoke card. When present, the senses are aroused and enticed, yet the warning of fire cannot be ignored. What kind of smoke is it? Was the fire intended, a ritual, or an accident? Does the smoke carry notes of incense and herbs, or is it laced with the fear-stricken scent of destruction? The smoke card asks us to wake up, to become alert to what is happening around us. Something burns. Those around you may fall under smoke's seduction, or they may flee in a panic. Don't get distracted by their response. Stay in your own laboratory and see what emerges as you study the smoldering veil. Okay, interesting. I'm getting this energy. Okay, there's a Percy Jackson show. It's based on novels, of course, but the show's on Disney Plus. And there's a scene in that show where Percy and his friends have to go into like this casino in order to meet with Mercury or Hermes in that story, the Greek god Hermes, and he's in this casino. But the thing about this casino is that there's like something in the air that affects your thinking, right? Like it's like they get stuck there basically because the air makes them forget. It's almost like you have to go into this casino, Gemini. That's how it's coming through. You have to, it feels like you're having to go into like a crowded room or a place that's like really busy, or there's something in the air there where it makes it kind of hard to focus, is how it's coming through. And because I feel like there's something about this maiden energy that's in there, is how it's feeling to me. So this could be like a new beginning for you. It actually feels like it's a new beginning, or it's like something that is for you, and you will know it when you see it. Absolutely. You are going to know what this is when you see it, because it's going to be calling your name in some way. It will resonate with you very, very strongly. Like it's kind of like those people that you meet that you just become friends immediately. Like that's how it's coming through. There's an immediate connection, but it's going to take almost like discipline on your part, Gemini. I almost said Sagittarius. It's going to take discipline on your part in order to like make it through this crowded room without like being enticed by the smoke, is how it's feeling. There may be distractions. There may be like other sort of like it's coming through as like conversations that may try and pull you in, and trying to like remain focused on the one that is for you. Very interesting. Maybe it could, maybe you are in the crowded room already, like you're in the environment already, but it's like you're still sort of like circling the edges, right? Like you're a wallflower. It kind of feels like not in an offensive way, Gemini. Sorry if that's offensive. I'm just saying like you're sticking to the edges is just how it's coming through. Because maybe you are anticipating that stepping through this like crowded room is maybe not the best place for a mouse, right? Like it's that kind of feeling. So maybe you're being a bit protective at the moment. You have Virgin's Milk at the bottom of the deck with the Maiden card as well. Maybe you don't know quite what to do yet, Gemini. That's how this card comes through. You have Alchemical Wedding at the bottom of the deck. I haven't seen this card in such a long time. Virgin's Milk talks about like pretending to know more than you do, right? And not wanting to give away the secret that you don't know what you're doing. This innocence card is really coming through very strongly. It's feeling like the Fool card. It's a new beginning for you. But you have to step away from the edges where you've been sort of staying safe. I actually feel like whatever this Maiden energy is has been calling you for a long time with this Piper. It's been calling you for a long time. Isn't there like a childhood story about the Piper and the mouse? The Piper and like the mice. Interesting. The Pied Piper, isn't that what that's about? I don't know. Anyways, okay. This card, Fire, Volcano, Sun. It talks about embracing your desires, letting go of any self-limiting beliefs and going after what you want. That's what this card talks about. You're being encouraged to do that. It feels very much like a Mars energy, again with that Leo, because right now Mars is in Leo, right? And I feel like there's something here about like you're sticking to the edges, not quite diving in fully, and perhaps not wanting to be the center of attention in some way, right? You don't want to be the center of the party. You don't want to be, maybe, I don't know. There could be something like that. It just feels like there's like a distance between, because I feel like whatever it is this Maiden is at the center. It's almost like this is like a performance, the Maiden. Like a concert. The Maiden is the thing that's on stage, is how it's coming through. And you have to somehow make it to the stage, Gemini. And I feel like it's going to require a bit of a Mars and Leo kind of energy of like pushing forward, being in the spotlight in some way. And this Sulfur card as well. I didn't talk about this because I feel like it's not quite your energy, but because of this sort of like geyser or volcano kind of energy, like letting something go, or perhaps there's some sort of like release that's needed, or I don't know. It does feel like some sort of action or like taking a leap of faith, that kind of thing. Because from this card, there's a line that says, like, just because other people are playing small doesn't mean you have to play small, Gemini. And the mouse is coming in with a bit of, like, a playing small energy. I'm going to link that Libra reading that had the mouse in it, because that was a theme in that reading as well. It wasn't the last Libra reading. It was, like, 2 Libra readings ago, I think. Maybe you've been playing small, but I feel like you're being asked to like shift out of that in some way. Because I feel like the Maiden is not an energy that plays small. It is small in terms of it's new, but it's not playing small on purpose, right? Another volcano card. Okay, Fire, Volcano, Star. The numbers 2 and 3 are coming in. Maybe something about last year, like 2023. Oh, I almost... Okay, sorry. They say with great power comes great responsibility. One of those great responsibilities is humility. Humble leaders understand that the power they wield is meant to serve the people. Recognize yourself as a vessel for something greater. Take care that your thoughts, words, and actions are steeped in humility, while always serving the best interests of the collective. The spirits are pointing you towards a pathway that will lead you to your magnificence. Walk this path with humility, making sure to never exalt yourself above others, but to walk alongside them, inspiring and igniting them with your passion, your integrity, and your litness. Okay, Gemini, because that Libra reading with the mouse, there was a theme of humility, right? The difference between humility and letting somebody walk all over you. I don't feel like you're doing that, right? With the mouse card, it almost feels like it's an energy of humility with you, where you're humble is how it's coming through. You're humble. Perhaps you have been humbled by something. Perhaps you have been humbled by something, and it's like, because I feel like there's something about like being of service to others, right? Again, not the same thing as allowing other people to walk all over you. I don't feel that that's what you're doing, but maybe you just need a reminder of that. But maybe there's something that you can do to help a situation or to serve a situation, or like something about your gifts is really wanting to come through, because it's kind of like something with like the story of Cinderella, where like the mice helped her, right, to like get ready, like that kind of energy. I'm seeing something like that. Like it's it's humble. It's humbling. Maybe you're helping someone out of a difficult position, because this sulfur card, can talk about like a unpleasant healing experience. Maybe there's someone in your life, like a friend or something like that, who's going through a bit of like a humble or a healing experience. Like they're going through some sort of healing experience that may be unpleasant for them. And it's like, can you do something to help? Is how it's feeling. Like standing alongside them. I just heard ushering them towards freedom. Like it's something like that. Yeah, it's like preparing Cinderella for the ball. That's how it comes through. Maybe there's a friend or something like that you're helping to do that. Like preparing them for the ball. That's how it feels. Again, Gemini, flip this around if it's not resonating for you in that way. It could be the other way for you. But that's just how I'm going to read it. Okay, land, cave, and earth. Okay, this could also be different aspects of yourself as well. Like, there may be something about, like, one aspect of yourself is this mouse, which is humble, but at the same time, there's this energy within yourself that's the maiden, which requires nurturing, right? It's like, maybe you're doing some inner child work. Maybe you're, like, healing something about, about maybe you have Leo somewhere in your chart, like your ability to shine, especially because this card is coming out, which I'm going to read. So it says, while you hold great riches within the depths of your being, these gifts will wither and decay if you continue to hide them and keep yourself in isolation. You must connect with others, dear one. You must stand in the power of your vulnerability and trust that the treasures you have to share will be well received, because they will. The more willing you are to share your gifts, the faster and greater those gifts will grow and multiply, increasing their vitality and breathing new life into you and into everyone you touch. Be courageous now, knowing that others' appreciation for the beauty you have to share will gift you a greater appreciation for all that you were once inspired to keep hidden. Your bravery will allow others the chance to reflect the inner beauty you carry and will lift you to greater levels of self-acceptance. Okay, I was getting this message earlier of like, sometimes we hide parts of ourselves. It's inevitable. Gemini, I feel like, knows this above any other sign because you have that duality aspect. Sometimes it's not favorable to share our gifts, right? And depending on the circumstances, that kind of thing. But if it happens over a long period of time where it's like you've hidden an aspect of yourself for a very long time, like I'm just getting like a really strong like Cinderella type vibe here, where it's like you have been a servant to other people, maybe, or like you've kept an aspect of yourself hidden, perhaps to protect yourself, right? Like cleaning up after others, or being a servant to other people, that kind of thing. Which I feel like is something that if this is an aspect of you, it's like, it's time to get ready for the ball now, Cinderella. Like, it's time to dress up. It's time to like go out and meet other people, or like step into the crowded room. That's how it's coming through. Like, time to go to the ball is how it's feeling. Again, this could be someone else that you're trying to encourage. Like, if you are resonating in this mouse energy, it's like you're helping someone to like get dressed up, right? Metaphorically, this is all like symbolic, but it's kind of coming through like that. Because if you don't hone or share your gifts, they will just wither away and decay, right? Like, imagine if Cinderella stayed in that stepmother's house for the rest of her life. Like, she would have met an early death, I think. But it's kind of coming through like you have to share your gifts in order for them to be appreciated by others, and they will be. That's how it's coming through. I feel like there's some sort of healing process that's happening, either for you or for another, or there's like a lot of reflection happening in this dynamic or something like that. But it's really beautiful that you're both coming out with this sort of innocence energy. Like, absolutely a match. And I love that Cinderella brought her mice with her to the castle. Okay. Wisdom. I love this because it's coming out under the innocence card, right? The wise innocence is how it's coming through. You have wisdom, but you're also innocent, and that is a winning combination. Gemini. Okay, you have a lot of wisdom to share. I feel like you've gained a lot of wisdom. This is also something that, like, this is a lesson perhaps that you're learning about wisdom. Okay. The wisdom card asks us to move beyond the linear thread of logical thinking handed down to us by our parents, our schools, our media, and our society. It speaks to an infinite expanse of knowledge that exists beyond our indoctrination, a holistic intelligence that incorporates intuition, emotion, empathy, experience, and spiritual understanding. Yeah. Wisdom is about being able to sense beyond the surface of what is being presented or offered, to perceive information multidimensionally. When this card appears, you know that the spirits are talking about your journey along this path and are inviting you to gather and cultivate tools that will allow you to sense information from a more expanded perspective. Such tools will help you know where and how to insert this information back into society and into the minds of others at just the right time, so that they too can tap into the magic of wisdom themselves. Yeah. You're a wise, innocent mouse, Gemini. It's like you have emotion, empathy, intuition, experience, and spiritual enlightenment all working in your favor in whatever this situation is. I feel like you're bringing all of your wisdom with you. Okay. Land, animal, moon right at the center. It's number 77. If you truly want to connect with animals, and trust me, you do, you're going to need to do so through your emotions. Animals have a lot of wisdom to share. There it is again. They may not speak in your tongue, but they do speak through feelings. Animals are not intellectual beings, they are emotional beings. It is only when you align your feelings with the animals that you will truly be able to understand them. So take some time to observe the animals in your environment. Do not analyze, for this is not an intellectual exchange. This is an emotional exchange. Observe the animal and then observe the feelings that arise in you as you do. See your reflection through the emotions of this magnificent creature. This practice will allow you to understand the animal at a profound level, as well as to understand the nature of spirit and of the earth as well, because they too communicate with the language of vibration and feeling. Yeah. Yeah, don't try and analyze the situation as how it's coming through. There may be a different animal that doesn't have to be a sea turtle. Maybe you're having maybe there are animals coming through your dreams. But it's really talking about connecting to an emotional experience. Wisdom of the animals is how it's feeling. Maybe there's a particular animal guide that's helping you in this process. Okay. I think we're going to end it there, Gemini. I was going to put one more card, but I think that's it. So I'm going to leave it there. If this reading resonated with you, please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for sharing your energy with me, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.